Tennessee Titans fans, it is that time of the week where we go and explore the Tennessee Titans Reddit page to see what all of the fans are talking about in relation to the organization. And we are going to have some doozies today. Don't forget the Two Tone Talk Reddit page. There's a link to that in the video description below. Go join in on the discussion over there. Nobody's posted on there in like 2 weeks. So somebody go share some comments or questions on the Two Tone Talk Reddit page. This is the first post we are looking at from the Tennessee Titans Reddit page from the Elite Freak. The Titans had the fewest viewers of anybody this season. As you can see there, all of the NFL teams. And the Tennessee Titans came in last with 5.61 million viewers. They were in the bottom 10. They were in the bottom 3. They were in the bottom 1. Listen, you have to factor in a couple of things. Number one, most of the Titans games were at noon. They had one primetime game. It was week 4 against the Dolphins on Monday Night Football, and it was a doubleheader. So the NFL didn't even trust the Titans to bring in enough viewership that they had to do another game in addition to that. So that's part of it. And also, I mean, the Titans were just awful. The Titans, I think most people knew after the first week or two that the Titans were one of, if not the worst team in the league. And so people are not going to be compelled to watch. I bet many people didn't feel compelled to watch the Washington Commanders last year, that all of a sudden they're excited to watch them last year, this year, whatever I just said. They weren't compelled to watch them last year, and now this year they are, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, I think the Titans' time of their games mixed with how bad they were, they were, and they're a small market anyway. The next one from Donnie Trouble. How many games do we need to win next year for Callie to keep his job? If the rumors are to be believed, then Brinker may not be a full believer in Callie. I hadn't heard those rumors. That said, I think we may be able to win 5 games next year and he still gets fired. What do y'all think? I had not heard any rumors that Chad Brinker was not a big believer in Brian Callahan. I think if he wasn't to that degree, he would have probably been fired because Brinker is pretty much calling all the shots now anyway. But as far as how many games the Titans have to win, first of all, in my head, you were already at the bottom last year. If you can throw together 6 or 7 wins, that would probably be enough. But more than anything, more than any number of wins, the Titans have to show improvement. If they're in there with a rookie quarterback, that rookie quarterback's got to show some promise. If you've got, a bridge quarterback and you've just got some other pieces that you pick up in the draft, the team's got to show improvement and they've got to show some level of buy-in to Brian Callahan's message. That, to me, is more important than even number of wins. Look at the Carolina Panthers this year. The Panthers won 4 games, and yet they're feeling pretty good about their coach and quarterback because even though they lost a heck of a lot more than they won, they showed some promise. They showed some fight. They showed some spunk. And so now they've got some hope going into next season, and people are probably going to feel pretty good about the Panthers by the time next season rolls around. So that, to me, is more important than even the number of wins. Cultural Task 1098. This is an interesting one. The Lions 2024 season reminds me of the Titans 2021 season. Tough guy coach, great culture, everyone loves the swagger, magical regular season with a vet quarterback and stud running back, overcome inordinate number of injuries with Band-Aids and attitude, earned the number 1 seed. This is the year. Vet QB has terrible playoff game, gives the ball away, repeatedly disappointing loss to a team with a hot young quarterback at home in round 1. Good OC hired away after the season. This is the cycle of the NFL. It's like deja vu. The Lions are on the way down. It is frightening, the similarities between this year's Lions and those 2021 Titans, although I will say I think this Lions team would probably beat that 2021 Titans team if they played head-to-head. But the similarities are there. The only one that I'm not on board with is the fact that the Lions are losing a really good OC at the end of the season, and the Titans did not. The Titans had Todd Downing as their offensive coordinator in that playoff game, and they kept him. So that's a much different situation than anything that the Lions are doing right now. But yes, the similarities between this year's Lions and the 2021 Titans, eerily similar to the point where watching the Lions meltdown to the Commanders last weekend, it gave me PTSD because it got me thinking about that Titans-Bengals game that I'm still not over. If we don't draft a quarterback, what are our options? I'm in the boat of wanting to draft a quarterback with the first overall pick, but I'm not against the idea of trading back with the Giants or sticking and picking Abdul Carter because we don't love any of the quarterbacks. In this scenario, I was trying to think who are legitimate options for us if we don't sign Sam Darnold. There's no way we run it back with Levis and Rudolph. Kirk Cousins is washed, so I'm not really interested in him. I really can't think of any free agent options outside of Darnold and was curious to know who you guys would like if we don't pick a quarterback with the first overall pick. Well, obviously, like you said, Sam Darnold is an option. Like you, I am not very intrigued at Kirk Cousins because of just what we saw from him in Atlanta this year. Slow, can't really move. Looks like he's kind of on that Matt Ryan in Indianapolis kind of trajectory. For me, it's Aaron Rodgers. Don't throw anything at me, but I still think Aaron Rodgers could be a legitimately good option for the Tennessee Titans if we don't want to draft Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. And even if we do want to draft one of those guys and you just don't want to put them in, remember, Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker both come from that philosophy of, hey, set the rookie for a year or two behind a veteran bridge guy. So even if the Titans were to draft Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, I could also see them going with Aaron Rodgers for a year just to give that young guy time. But I think Aaron Rodgers is probably my number one choice. I mean, you could go with Justin Fields, Derek Carr. I mean, I almost fell asleep just saying Derek Carr's name right there because it just would not move me at all. But, yeah, I mean, those are the options. It's Rodgers, it's Cousins, it's Darnold, it's Carr, Russell Wilson maybe, even though Pete Carroll just got hired for the Raiders and he's got history with Russell Wilson and they need a new quarterback. So we'll see how all of that plays out. This user said, who is the greatest Titans player of all time? And they have a video to watch there, but we're not going to watch the video. Just going off of that question, I know it's subjective. If I had to make a top 5, I'm going, and this is just in my lifetime, I'm going Steve, I'm going Eddie, I'm going Derek, I'm going Will Compton. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going, I feel like I need to go on the defensive side of the ball, maybe Javon Curse, the freak. Yeah, we'll go Javon Curse. And we'll probably round it out with CJ2K. Just because, I mean, he was the only good player on the team in that era of Titans football. I think A.J. Brown would have ended up on that list if we'd kept him. This is a good one. At least we didn't hire Dan Quinn. Man, those words. No blank. Hindsight is 2020. I'm just talking smack and can totally be the right hire down the line. We need to lighten up a little bit as a fan base, talk some smack, have some fun. The main thing I want to zero in on there is the irony, because last offseason, I was one of those people who said, don't hire Dan Quinn. When the Titans interviewed Dan Quinn, I didn't want nothing to do with him. I wanted Brian Callahan. I wanted Ben Johnson. I wanted Bobby Slowick, who was the offensive coordinator of the Texans, returned as the offensive coordinator of the Texans, and then got fired today. So, good thing we didn't go with Slowick, I guess. But yeah, I think it's just proof that you never know. And it's proof that, if Dan Quinn had come to coach the Tennessee Titans, do I think he would have done in Tennessee what he's done in Washington? Well, absolutely not. He didn't have Jaden Daniels if he'd have come here. I mean, that's just proof, because I think Dan Quinn is a good coach, but it was a pretty uninspiring hire. I mean, I don't remember anybody being pumped for Washington to hire Dan Quinn, but we had no way of knowing what a stud Jaden Daniels is going to be, and that's just proof you get the quarterback right and stuff starts working out. I mean, I'm just telling you. I still to this day don't know if Sean McDermott is that good of a coach or if it's just Josh Allen. And speaking of Josh Allen, this is the final post we're going to look at. Unpopular opinion. Watching that game and seeing Josh Allen almost pitch that blank on the goal line got me thinking. Allen was a mid/bad QB early on. I remember thinking Buffalo was going to move on from him. Then they got Diggs, and he balled. Is there a thought out there to give Levis some love and draft Travis Hunter? This is the danger of this, because Josh Allen, yes, when he came in, he looked bad. He did a lot of crazy things to turn the ball over, and it didn't look good early on in Buffalo, and now he's one of the top 3 best quarterbacks in the league, no doubt. Might win the Super Bowl this year, who knows? That's the exception and not the rule. Most of the time, that's not going to happen. Like, most of the time, like, because it happened with Josh Allen, now everybody likes to think that that's going to happen to their quarterback. I mean, I heard Giants fans saying that was going to happen with Daniel Jones. Like, you remember Josh Allen? He wasn't good early on. All of these teams with quarterbacks that come in and they're not good for the first couple of years, and they play like Will Levis did this year, and everybody says, well, Josh Allen wasn't good, and then look at him now. Yeah, but there's a heck of a lot more instances of a guy coming in, not being any good, and just not getting better and having to move on. Like, that's the more likely option to me. I don't think the Titans are going to run it back with Will Levis in 2025 in any circumstance, unless he comes in as a backup to a veteran bridge guy. I don't see that happening. And I don't know if Travis Hunter would really do for Will Levis what Stephon Diggs did for Josh Allen, because you got to think, I mean, my God, you came into last year with Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd. I'm not saying that's the best lineup in the world. I realize that it's on the older side of things, but still, there are a lot worse lineups than that in the NFL. And it was so bad that we eventually just had to trade Hopkins. And, it just, I get, in theory, you go get a great wide receiver so that your quarterback can have a guy to throw to. We had 2 really good wide receivers at least on this team coming into this year, and it still didn't work. So I just don't buy that Will Levis is the next Josh Allen. I just don't buy that. I don't see anything. Because even when Josh Allen was playing badly early on, he was still doing a lot of good stuff. I mean, the Bills were in the playoffs that game against Houston when Deshaun Watson was still good, where it was back and forth. Josh Allen did some crazy stuff in that game that he shouldn't have done, but they were still in the playoffs. So I just don't see that being the case with Will, but I've been wrong before. Tighten up, everybody.